Now we are going to continue on the model, and the second point or the same thing and strategy that I use for modeling, and as a basic strategy. There are many ways of doing things, but it is working with the insert edge loop tool. So I use extrude as one of the main tools, and then I use insert edge loop. And the insert edge loop allows you to have um, the possibility of creating loops around your geometry. In this case, if I hit 3 on my keyboard, the object will simply go to smooth. So that way, I don't want it to be. So I need to insert an edge in the areas where I want it to be sharper. So the more geometry you have, the sharper the corners will be. In this case, I'm going to use the insert edge loop tool, and I can open it up to look what is in it. Usually I don't change anything, and then just gives me a smooth angle of 30. But usually, as I said, I don't change anything. And I come and I insert an edge. I'm going to do one in the middle here just to give one kind of like a halfway point for that piece of geometry. It goes all the way around. Wherever it finds a quad or a square, a polygonal square, it will go through that. If it finds a triangle, it won't do it. And now I'm going to keep using the same tool, and I'm going to add one very close to the edge on the top, and then another one very close to the edge at the bottom. So I'm going to go to right click and then say object mode, and if I hit 3 on my keyboard, then it's smooth but a little bit sharper. It's not fully sharp, but a little bit sharper. And I go 1 on my keyboard to just to have it low res version of my model, and not the proxy version. So if I wanted to have this corner sharper, I would need to have an edge loop that goes around on the top and the bottom of my object. Only that in this case, using the same tool, it won't do the whole thing. It'll just try to go across different places. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click on this one, for example, just to see what it does. And I'm going to just bring it close to the edge. You see how it didn't go around, but it just went around on this wall. So I have a sharper loop going all the way in this direction. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the same tool to insert one here in this corner, another one here in this corner, and that is giving me enough information to go all the way. And now I just have to have another one here to have. I'm going to go to object mode, my right mouse button, and then I hit 3 on my keyboard, and then you'll see now with the 3 on my keyboard, the object looks smooth in the curves, but it has a very, very fine edge, but at the same time it has some smoothness to it, so which makes it very attractive. I'm going to go back to mode 1 on my keyboard. That way I can have a low-res version of it, not a smooth version of it. I can verify the curvature. I'm going to just say here 3. I'm going to just put here shading on X-ray, and I can see that now my object is not matching perfectly my drawing. If I go 1, it does deliver low res version, 3 is the smooth version. So I'm going to try to correct that. I'm going to right click on my mouse and say vertex. I'm going to select all these vertices. I'm going to hit 3 on the keyboard, that way I can keep fine tuning. I'm going to push those to the shape that I want them to match. I'm going to select this ones too. same for the top. So it is a matter of just simply just fine-tuning the best you can. Here there is an issue that of course this corner has to be sharper, and we'll have to deal with that in a minute. Before I do that, I'm going to just fine-tune these ones, and of course because I'm selecting from the top view, I'm selecting the vertices that are on the top and the vertices that are on the bottom. Let me undo that for a moment. I'm going to select these two, because if I separate this vertex and that vertex too much, then this corner is going to be too soft. I don't want that. And then I'm going to move this one down here, and this ones would need some fixing, so I'm going to match this edge here. Of course we have to work on these details in a minute, and then we have to figure out how to solve this corner. So if I hit 1, you see that that corner is being solved there this way. So I'm going to push this one this way. I'm going to hit 3, and that is there, still not giving me the angle that I want. Still, I'm going to wait and not worry about that yet, because this is a good moment I'm going to save my file actually. That way I don't have to be risking of a crash. But then instead of just saving, I'm going to say increment and save. That will give my file a incremental value, or meaning a duplicate. Let me just move it down here so you can see it. Now you see the name of my file became pliers1001. That's the version 01. Increment and save will continue doing incremental versions of my file in case something happens or crashes, my file gets corrupted. I don't have to worry, and I can go back and use the previous version. So that's a nice way of protecting yourself. Okay, so we have done extrusion, and we have done insert edge loop tool. Now I'm going to introduce the third basic tool that I use when I'm doing modeling, and that is multicut tool. And the multicut tool allows me to fine-tune and customize my polygons, and it's very friendly, very easy to use, and I really can do anything with it. But before I do that, I'm going to show you and verify that you remember that any object that you're modeling is developing a history. You see here on the side under the channel box the list of modifications we have made to that original cube. Here is the original cube. That means Maya still understands that this piece came from a cube, and then he just found extrusion, split. So that means there is history. That's making my file slower, and at the same time, of course, risking that Maya may crash. So I'm going to just say edit, delete by type, history. That way that is gone. In case I wanted to go back to that, I still have a previous file that I will be able to go back to it. Okay, so multicut tool. So the multicut tool, you can use it either from your mesh tools. You can use the multicut tool here, or you can also use it from your modeling toolkit, and you can find it here. And here is the multicut tool. Same thing. You can find here the extrusion there. The edge loop is not here, but the multicut tool is. So with the multicut, we are going to start defining information and start defining things that need to be improved. I'm going to start with something that is simple, something that is good, and that is that I need to, the details that need to be done for this piece are the opening, the hole, and of course those ridges that kind of give a kind of shape of kind of teeth type of thing. So those will need to be done very likely with the multicut tool. And so I'm going to start with this, And I'm not going to use actually multi-cut tool for the circle. I'm going to start with insert edge loop tool. So I'm going to say match insert edge loop tool. I'm going to grab it there. I'm going to grab it with the middle mouse button. I'm going to put it and save it to my modeling tools here, my poly tool. That way I can call it from here next time. I'm not having to go there anymore. And then I'm just going to insert an edge right in the middle of that circle, right there. And I'm going to try to insert another one right in the middle of it on the other direction. So I can have kind of like a center that allows me to, let me get rid of the x-ray so you can see it, allows me to work around that area to create, let me hit 4 on my keyboard, to create that loop for that hole. And let me go back to my x-ray one more time. There it is. And I am going to create a cut with a multi-cut tool. I know that the edge loop went all the way around, so that means I have that both edges going in both directions. Okay, so I'm going to cut with a multi-cut tool. I'm going to cut a diamond that roughly gives me that circle. This is a diamond technique that I always teach it to people because I find it very, very useful and very, very practical to be able to use it to create circles or create even things that come out from it. So I'm going to here go back to my non-X-ray, and what I need to do is, I know that the circle is going to be here, but I don't have enough information for it to be a circle. If I hit 3, it tries to become a circle, but it's not quite there. So I'm going to hit 1, and I'm going to use my multi-cut tool again, and I'm going to cut from the center of that diamond to the corners, to the corner that it finds across from that. From the center of that line of the diamond to that corner, from the center of the line to that corner, and from the center to the corner. And that gives me a different approach to look at this, because what it is doing, it is allowing me to have all these quads now. They are four-sided polygons, four-sided, 4 edges. That means that if I wanted to insert an edge loop here, I could do it. But before I do that, I'm going to go back to my X-ray, and I'm going to fine-tune these vertices that I just did. Let me just grab this guy. I'm going to use my move tool. I'm going to move that one to where my circle roughly will be. I'm going to actually do it a little bit out, because they need to be outside of the circle in order to create the circle inside of the edges. There we go. Let me go closer. I'm a little too far away. Here it is. It's kind of like encasing that circle inside of that those vertices. Roughly, if I hit 3, they still don't provide what I need them to provide, because you'll see they are doing this, but I know they're in the right place. Go back and you can see them, they're there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert an edge loop close to here, so that I can have a better chance to generate that circle. So I'm going to use my insert loop tool. Here it is. I'm going to click here. So that's going to try to average the distance. So I'm going to have to go manually and fix that. But this makes it so that I can try using this, using the move tool, hit W on my keyboard, and then move the keyboard, this one here, there. So roughly, if I hit 3 on my keyboard, it starts looking a bit more like a circle. It's not quite perfect. Hit 1 on my keyboard. I'm gonna just go back and I'm going to try to verify if the circle is the circle still. Yes, it is. I'm gonna just go, and because I know there's going to be a hole here, I can go and select these faces. I'm holding my control key, my shift key, and I hit delete. That way I have opened the circle there for my possible cylinder that is going to be there. Here it is. So you have it roughly. The circle is almost there. I could fix it more and just fine tune it, but I will do that in a bit. So I need to actually do the same process on the bottom so I can combine or better do the circle. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to open up my circle following exactly the same effect at the bottom to combine them. So I'm going to just stop my video for a moment and do that circle, and then we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back. I just went and just did exactly the same cut in using the multi-cut tool at the bottom of my piece, and I made sure that I made those here for my keyboard, making sure that they are exactly or as close as possible. Let me try to fix the one at the bottom to match them with the top ones the best I can. I'm using my arrow keys on my keyboard to move around the vertices. For some reason my keyboard here is not registering those strokes that I'm doing. Right, so I have those there, and I'm gonna go back to my perspective view just to look at it for a moment, and I'm going to go and insert an edge. Click on the insert edge loop. I'm going to insert an edge right there around it, so that gives a little bit more presence to it. And of course I need to fix those vertices. Let me go back again to my front top view to best match them with the 16 vertices on the top view, or better on the top face of my object. This is the best possible arrow key just to move it exactly where it needs to go. Right, that makes it a little bit better, a little bit easier. Now to the side, to the side. There it is. Okay, so now I can go and I have those, and I can go and select those faces and delete them. So now I have an opening that it's going to be filled, and for that I'm going to use another tool that is not one of the best or the main tools, but is one that is very useful, and it is the bridge tool. And for that you simply have to bridge, the edges that you want to bridge. I'm going to just double click on this one, double click on that one, so that selects both. Actually it did already when I click bridge, it did it right away. So the red, I just bridge that. If I hit 3, I have a soft edged hole. So, and as you were guessing, the best way to fix that is by meaning to make it sharper, is by adding a closer edge loop here, another one right there, and we'll do the same thing for the other view, another edge loop right there, another edge loop right there. So if I hit 3 on my keyboard, you get to see I have a very sharp circular opening. It could be a bit more circular, but you get the idea. We just are pending out to finish the ridges here to print. So let me just do another incremental save, and we're good.